everybody, Nami, I'm Scott here, life enthusiast, and today we have a rather serious interview actually. I'm here with Jessie Kahnweiler.
Hello.
She is a writer, director, and actress, and I am actually going to be interviewing her about her latest short film called Meet My Rapist. The short film will be released this month. Be sure to click on the link below. Yeah, let's do the link below. To check it out.
This was such a great interview. It was really moving. I love the brevity.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
I watched it. I was cried at the end.
Yeah.
No.
I don't care what you do, just as long as you're not bored.
Oh, okay. No, I totally was bored. Did you have any specific intentions or goals when you decided to make Meet My Rapist?
Rape's so been in the media and especially in terms of comedy. It's like, what's a rape joke? Who can make rape jokes? What are the parameters of what rape jokes can be? And I started to think about my own experience. The way that I process things a lot is through humor. To kind of look at my own experience and what I've been through and go through that a little bit and have a point of view as the victim that isn't necessarily victimized.
The one thing I noticed when I watched the film was that you made it seem like the whole society is pretty insensitive to a rape victim. Is that something you personally experienced?
It is a short, so you're obviously just giving little like slices of life. I don't know if I would necessarily say insensitive, but I would say it's a really hard thing to talk about. Like a lot of uncomfortable things, people don't know really how to deal with it. The way that I dealt with it was the day after it happened, I was just like, anybody that wanted to know. I was like, well, let me tell you about my rape story. And then it just became this story. And it was almost like it wasn't happening to me. I felt like me kind of coming off as more casual about it. I think I just got like a lot of varying responses. Like people aren't like, oh my God, shut up, I don't want to hear about it. But once you kind of bring that up, it shifts the tone.
Right.
It's probably not like
massive elephant in the room.
Right. I'm not really into small talk, but it kind of, if you ever want to kill a dinner party, again, like those topics that maybe are a little bit more taboo. And with all my work, it's all about just creating a dialogue. It's not about like, this is how you should talk about rape. It's like, this just is. So we at least need to be able to talk about it because it's obviously, unfortunately, happening still.
All the films that you've done so far are based in reality, right? But there is like a surrealist tone to this, especially having kind of the rapist figure ever present. Why did you decide to do that?
I kind of just wanted to highlight the way that, when you experience any kind of trauma, it stays with you and it comes into your life in these really random ways. And for me, like a big thing was to just go straight into strength. And, with strength, I think there's a certain amount of denial. I do think like with trauma a lot, for me personally, like I try to skip straight to the, I'm okay, I'm strong, I'm good. And I did that for many, many years and was openly talking about it, but I don't think I gave myself any chance to just sit with it and be with it and be with my feelings and honor them. And going around in life and, okay, well, I need to be this, personality or have this presence or, be confident and strong because I just want to be all those things. You have to just let yourself first be. So I kind of wanted to show like just the various stages and how the rapist just always kind of came with me. And also for better or worse, it's a huge, really pivotal relationship in my life.
In terms of, the rapist being ever present in the film, I noticed that in the scene with your parents, that's kind of the only point in the film where the character is directly being spoken to. Was there a reason for that? Or
when this happens to you, people, especially your loved ones, your close loved ones, there's at first that need to just kind of be like, well, like that didn't happen to my daughter, or that didn't happen to my son or loved one. There's this need to just like protect. And I think a form of that is saying, like, everything's okay. And like, if we say it's okay, then that means it's okay. Because I get like that when something bad happens to my friends, I think there's a need to just be like, but you're okay now, right?
Right.
It's always supposed to end on a happy story. And I know for me, I don't want to be a downer. There's that need, I think, to be strong. But I think that scene is like super surreal and ridiculous, but I finally had to tell my parents about that incident. But just kind of fantasizing of like 8 years after the fact, what would it be like if I could bring this guy that has had such an impact on my life and bring him through like all of the steps that you would have with a normal relationship.
I'm curious to know why you decide to kind of style the rapist as kind of this crazed looking man. Just wanted to know why, like, was it more kind of like, again, like surrealist, like kind of pushing it and making it more extreme, or, you know, why that choice was?
Most of the people I know are weird looking. But I tried, you know, a really big stylistic thing is we just never wanted to show his face. So it was like showing the mouth and showing parts of him. But I think I tried to do things like the hoodie, having this very universal outfit that he wore. And also his voice at the end, how he has kind of like a baby, you know, a baby voice. He had a very gentle presence. And that's also what I really wanted to show. It can be anyone. And I know in my personal experience, totally would have never expected that dude. And that's kind of what I want to show, is that it's like, it's not skin deep. Like, I don't remember what his face looked like in my real life. I was wasted. I don't really remember, and I think I tried to block a lot out of it too. But just this feeling that, like, did that actually happen? Like, I actually thought that. I was like, did that actually happen? And it was like, yeah, like, that's what you're, you know, trying to like repress and get over stuff and protect yourself. But I think it was really important to show. I have spent so much time thinking about this one night, 3 hours of my life, you know, that's affected me more than probably any other 3 hours of my life. And there's a lot of resentment and anger that comes with that. But more so, I was just like really curious, like, does this guy even remember? Has he done it to a million other people? If somebody would have asked him, like, would he even consider it rape, you know? And it's like, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter, because everyone's responsible for their own truth. You need to validate your own reality. It can't come from somewhere else, and that's the only time that like healing can really happen.
In one particular scene, it seems like you almost forgive the rapist by like kind of empathizing with him and kind of being like, I know why you did it. In that respect, do you feel at any point that a rapist should be forgiven?
I really can't stress enough that this film is my specific story. And I know the responsibility that comes with taking on a subject like this. And obviously it's very sensitive to people, and I'm not trying to disrespect anyone else's experience or sum up anyone else's experience. But it's kind of like one of these things where I had this whole process, and as somebody that's been raped, it's like our culture creates this binary of like how you're supposed to feel and how you're supposed to heal. To me, I'm human and I have my own process. Making this film was part of the process. And obviously there's some really satirical humor in it. It may rub people the wrong way, but it's just the way that I see the world. It's the way that I talk. It's the way that me and my friends think. And I can't stop that truth just because I'm afraid that I'm going to get criticized over it. Because I could make the rape story about like the victim that, and she overcomes it and it's all perfect and hunky-dory and everything. And I'm good and the rapist is bad. But to me, like, I look at my situation and honestly, like, have I forgiven him in my own way? 100%. And that's just my process, you know, like the way that I think about it, my connection and my purpose and, you know, my soul is like, I've forgiven him, and that's me. And I would never like claim to make anybody else's story or tell anyone else how to heal or process, but I certainly have a right to my own story.
Absolutely, absolutely. Many of your films deal with sensitive subjects, and a lot of the time the way it's executed could possibly offend people. Would you say, so is this intentional? Do you kind of always want to shock the audience?
It's an interesting relationship, you know, to have an audience and to be like with this medium where you're constantly like, on one hand, it's like your voice, but obviously like you're not making a film so that like you can watch it by yourself in your basement. Like you want to have an audience and you want to engage and you want to say something. I try to come from like a really honest place. And the way that I like to explore subjects that I'm interested in that may be taboo or slightly scandalous or offensive, this is just the way that I see the world, and this is the way that I make sense of things and my reality and what I find interesting, and I like pushing people's boundaries. I was filming something the other day, and I was filming this guy and I was asking him something, and he walked away and I made fun of him to the camera, and I watched the footage and I was like, not only is that not funny, I don't know, it's just not adding to anything. It's not creating, again, it's not like offering any kind of dialogue. So I always try to be the butt of my own jokes, which I am in my life, you know? but it is for the higher purpose of being vulnerable and opening dialogues. And two, if you try to shock people, like if I ever make something with the audience in mind, like when I'm in the zone, like I'm not thinking about you. And if I've ever done anything and thought about the audience and watched it later, it has sucked ass because it's not authentic. You're just like, please like me, and it's just boring.
If there's one underlying message that you want people to take away from your film, what would it be?
I just want people to just feel like comfortable telling their stories, you know? For literally 8 years, like I just thought that I had to be strong. And I just thought that that was the only option, to either be like the strong badass who's not gonna let this like terrible thing get me down, or like the weeping victim that is just like weak. And you know, you can be all of those things. And to be weak is to actually have like the most strength. You know, and again, like it all comes back to vulnerability. So for me, I would just like hope that this film inspires people to really like honor their own experiences in life and deal with them however they need to, because there's no wrong way. And I can't make my films defensively. I can't make films and just be worried about whether or not you're gonna like me or not, you know, or whether or not if this is gonna offend you or not. I cannot make work like that. I just won't. And I hope that people feel inspired and not freaked out too much to kind of tell their own stories and live their own truths.
Oh my God, I like totally just got teary-eyed.
It's just your allergies.
What are you doing to me? I don't have allergies. So that is the end of the interview, but do not forget to check out Jessie's short film, Meet My Rapist. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Jessie Kahnweiler, very talented director, writer, and actor.
Not me, I'm Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Hot take. She doesn't have to be smart because she's so hot, but she still is. She has it all.
Offensive.
Why are you so surprised?
Right on. Gosh, it's so good.
Don't cry, you wimp.
Sorry.
Fig.
Thank you.
Sick. I don't give a shit, but like you like me, right? Always asking such a hard question. That was
a serious interview.
That was really intense. I love you.
Can I dance with you?